When I started using a one-to-one risk reward strategy, that is when I got my first payout and that is when I became profitable. Up until that point, for over a year straight of doing this practically full time, being up at the markets every day, I went from being unprofitable to break even and I was stuck. And I'll be honest, I don't know what happened, but I decided to change my risk reward and I started going for one-to-ones. And that switch was an immediate difference for me when I started taking one-to-ones. Now, within the trading community, one-to-one RR is like the greatest sin you could ever do. You one-to-one RR, you can't be profitable with it. You're not going to see success in the long run. You got to go for high RR, high win rate, blah blah blah. It on YouTube, it's very rare you hear someone go for a one-to-one RR, and I get it. It's not as pretty as hitting a 10-to-1 risk reward trade. However, I'm just going to provide you guys with some points on why I think using a one-to-one risk reward, especially starting out, can be tremendously helpful in developing your edge, finding what you're comfortable with trading, and developing a better psychological approach to the market. Also, it gets really old hearing all the gurus, all the fake gurus on YouTube talk about high win rate with a high risk reward setup. I think it's produced and distributed way too much on YouTube and it's unrealistic, especially starting out. Starting out, that is so unrealistic and pretty unlikely, if I'm being honest, at any point of your trading career. It's the higher your risk reward, the lower your win rate is going to be, period. Now, it's not a direct correlation, but there is a little bit of play to that, okay? So first of all, with a lower risk reward, so a 1-to-1, a 1 to 1.5, maybe a 1 to 2. I don't typically go for 1 to 2s. So when you're taking a lower risk reward setup, what this provides typically is more opportunity to trade and observe the market. Because if you're going for a 10-to-1 trade, those setups are going to be far and few between where it's likely to actually move that much. So I think right off the bat, going for 1-to-1s is going to provide you with more opportunity to actually participate within the market, whether it's for good or bad. It's still giving you opportunity to learn. It's still opening the doors. You're not limiting yourself. And you're probably going to learn a lot faster, a lot more that way. You're going to be actively participating in the market. You're going to watch you're just going to learn more. It's going to accelerate that whole process. So that's one thing right off the bat I love about the one-to-one risk reward setups. The other thing is psychology is huge when it comes to trading. I would say it is at least 50% of your edge of any strategy. 50% of it or more is going to be your psychology. And I think trading one-to-ones, especially earlier on, is pretty important. I think it helps develop your fortitude, your mental fortitude. I don't think a lot of beginners can handle, going for a 5-to-1 or a 10-to-1 or a 3-to-1 even, and seeing the price action move up and then down in their favor and move up and then down in their favor and move up and get close to TP and then back down to their stop loss. I think if you start with one-to-ones, you can develop a base for your mental fortitude, for your psychology, where you're able to tolerate those trades a little bit better because either I win or I lose. It's the same outcome, the same dollar amount, and you leave it. You leave it. You don't touch it. All right. Start with that because if you can start with that, you can scale from there. Okay. If you can start with the one-to-one and let it ride and manage your risk that way, I think that's the best way to start building a good foundation for your psychology. Because I'm telling you right now, that is at least 50% of the trading game, at least. Okay. The next thing, and I think this is such a nice ability to have with one-to-ones, is your frequency is going to be higher. Typically, okay, you're going to take more trades, you're going to learn more, but you're going to have a lot more data to review. So let's say you take these one-to-ones, you have a lot more trades to review and look back at. Now you can interpret your data, whatever your edge is. I don't know how you trade, I don't know what you use, what instrument, whatever your data is, you have more to review now. You have more to look back at and optimize. You can look at your one-to-one strategy and say, hey, it looks like when the market looks like this, or the conditions look like this, or the volume looks like this, I can go for a higher TP. I can negate my risk and move it to break even. I can switch this or switch that. And that's one of the most powerful abilities about one-to-ones is you don't have to always do one-to-ones. I think they're great, and I think it's honestly a solid base. You can get by and be profitable, and I've seen it firsthand with one-to-ones. I'm telling you, it's possible. Guess how much of an edge, percentage-wise, win rate wise, you need to be profitable with the 1-to-1. 1%. Now, it sounds terrible. 51% win rate, 49% lose. I mean, that's not the greatest, but really, if that doesn't kind of open the door to the potential with 1-to-ones, I don't know what will. All you need is 1% over the long run. But now if we're talking 5, if we're talking 10%, where you're at a 60-40, that 10% difference can make you a lot of money. It does not take much, okay? So I think it is very important to not diminish the potential of 1-to-1 RRs, okay? I think they're very useful, and I think the ability to reflect back on your data, the increased amount of data you will have with 1-to-ones will set you up for the long run. Whether you stick with 1-to-ones, you change your strategy, you go for 5-to-ones, being able to increase the volume of data you have to review now is huge. It's going to help you so much. And I think that's really what helped me become profitable and experience my first payout. Now, I still have a lot of room to grow. I'm still working on it every day. It's a grind, and it never necessarily gets easier, it just gets different. I'm going to tell you that right now. But switching to 1-to-ones, immediate difference, switching to 1-to-ones and changing my strategy up a little bit. And I do review my data, I do track everything. That makes a big difference too. So I'm constantly trying to improve. But the biggest takeaway is you don't have to stick to 1-to-ones. I think you should try it, especially as a beginner. The increased data you have to review is very advantageous, and all it takes in reality is a 51% win rate to 49. Now that's really little. Hopefully you get a little higher than that. But even if you're at break even with 1-to-ones, that's still giving you opportunity to learn cost free with real money. Just saying. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. 1-to-ones really helped me develop my edge and learn and become a profitable trader. I would recommend just giving it a shot. I mean, what's it hurt? All right, just try it or back test it, or use a practice account. That's my spiel on 1-to-ones. I'm sorry I don't talk about 10-to-ones and making $20,000 in a single day and buy my Lambo and buy my Rolls Royce. I'm just being real with you guys. I think it's really beneficial after a lot of time spent observing the markets, and it's made a big difference on me. Hopefully you guys can implement it. I hope it works out well. I'll try and make more videos. Peace out. Thank you.